I think I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships. But at the same time, you have to keep your team's head above water to win games. So you have to do what you have to do to win games, and he's doing that, right? Now, I think...
So are you saying you don't think James Harden and the Rockets, as constructed, can win a title?
Not with this style of play, it won't win.
So yes, the Houston Rockets are going to be in trouble soon, and I already know what you may be thinking. This is not about the series that's currently going on between the Lakers and the Rockets. Although the outcome of this series may end up altering their situation slightly, they are still going to run into a lot of problems within the next few years. And a lot of this has to do with them deciding to trade for Russell Westbrook in the 2019 offseason, which this will ultimately be what ends up giving them problems in the future. And so today, we're going to be quickly talking about what the Rockets' future might look like in the next 2 to 3 years, and the potential issues we might see from them regarding their salaries. But before we begin, if you're new here, I'm Double D. I'm a huge basketball fan and I make NBA videos here on YouTube. So if you're also an NBA fan, or just a basketball fan in general, feel free to hit the sub button and click the bell to be notified when I upload more videos just like this one. Also, according to YouTube analytics, around 91% of you guys that watch my videos are still not subscribed, and so I would really appreciate that. Also, feel free to follow my Twitch, it is down below in the description, and it's also on the screen. I'm gonna start streaming there very soon, I promise. Alright, let's get into the video.
The superstar talent, the most athletic point guard we've ever seen in NBA history as far as I'm concerned. Mad respect to him, but he's one of those guys that he's going to do things his way. And when you talk to him since he has arrived in Houston, he's fully aware of what D'Antoni's system entails. D'Antoni, I've spoken to D'Antoni in the past when I went down to interview James Harden and they were there doing their practice, their after practice interviews and what have you. And they talked about, this is D'Antoni's system, but I'm going to do what I do. And he didn't talk about three-pointers. He talked about attacking the basket, putting the ball in the hole, kicking it out to other shooters. Russell Westbrook knows exactly what he should be doing. It's just a matter of whether or not he chooses to or not on any given day.
So at the start of the 2019 offseason, the Rockets' roster and salary situation was already getting pretty crazy. They were paying their starting lineup $102 million combined, which is up there, but it's not too crazy. The craziness comes when you consider the fact that last season, Chris Paul was actually making more money than James Harden. They paid Chris Paul $35 million last season compared to Harden's $30 million. But that was only the start of Houston's problems with money, because over the summer, they decided to trade Chris Paul to the OKC Thunder in return for Russell Westbrook. So right now, they are paying Russell Westbrook $38 million, Harden $37 million, Eric Gordon $14 million, Robert Covington $11 million, and PJ Tucker $8 million. So in total, they are paying their starting lineup $109,685,988. But this is about to become an even bigger issue in the next few seasons, because as we all know, Houston's microball experiment is exactly what I just said, an experiment. So I mean, this is a pretty huge risk that they're taking, both with the size of the players on the roster and how much they're making. And you also have to consider that some of these guys' contracts are going to be up very soon. PJ Tucker is a free agent in 2021, and Robert Covington is a free agent in 2022. Robert Covington may have a decent chance of re-signing with them, but we also have to consider the fact that a lot of other teams are probably going to want him now, given that he's shown just how useful and versatile he can actually be in today's game, and PJ Tucker is now 35 years old. So when his contract is up next season when he's 36 going on 37 years old, there's a good chance that he may end up choosing to retire instead, which would leave Houston with a very huge role to try and fill because he's a pretty good post defender, and he's one of the best corner three-point shooters in the league. And by the way, if you thought the Rockets were paying Harden and Westbrook a lot of money this year, then oh man, you are gonna fall out of your seat when you see this. So in the 2020-21 season, the Rockets will be paying Westbrook $41.3 million and Harden $41.2 million. The 2021-22 season, Westbrook makes $44.2 million and Harden makes $44.3 million. Now, the 2022 offseason is a player option for both of them, so they can either decide to take the last year of their contract or choose to go into free agency. Now, if they both decide to opt into the last season of their contract, Westbrook will make $47 million and Harden will make $47.3 million. I want you to just take a look at this for a second. In 2023, this will be $94 million for 2 players. But that's not all, because you also have to consider the risk that Houston is even taking to do that. Because the idea of having no centers on your roster, at least none that are in the actual rotation, is something that's never been done before. And Houston literally put all of their eggs in one basket and said, you know what, we're doing this, and if it doesn't get us anywhere, then so be it. Which I mean is a pretty gutsy decision by Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, but I would expect nothing more from a guy that said James Harden is a better scorer than Michael Jordan. I'm not going to play that clip again because honestly you guys have already seen it enough, and I mean, given that the Rockets are already down 3-1 against the Lakers, and probably aren't going to be doing anything next season because the West is going to be even more stacked, with Golden State coming back, Portland possibly making some improvements, the possibility of the Phoenix Suns now being in the playoff race, along with the situations I talked about with Robert Covington and PJ Tucker, yeah, that's not gonna be good when that time eventually comes. In addition to all that, if they don't get past the second round this season, which they likely won't, you really won't see other teams trying to adopt their style of play because they're gonna see it and go, man, they were one shot away from getting first rounded, then got crushed in the second round. Like, why would we do that? And so teams are just gonna stick with what they're doing now, with what they know, which means they're probably gonna run into a lot of the same problems they ran into this season. Another thing you need to think about is that if they do all of this, and don't even end up with a finals appearance, let alone a ring, then what happens to the Rockets organization if their time is up in 2022 or 2023? I mean, I can't picture Harden would ever leave Houston, but there are gonna be a lot of teams that consider going after him once he enters free agency. Same thing with Westbrook, and so Houston is going to be in a very difficult spot, because I mean, they would literally have nothing left, and I assume that at that point they're not gonna have enough money to re-sign them both. I don't know, this just looks really bad for Houston. I was talking about this with my dad the other night, and I mean, we just came to the conclusion that this very well could be the end of the road for the Rockets. At least for the time being. And so I want to know what you guys think about the Rockets and what their future might look like. Do you guys think they'll be able to keep this team together, or do you think it's going to fall apart when everybody's contracts are up? Let me know what you think. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.